I know I got the date wrong. It's been a very busy weekend. Yesterday I had a few little bits and pieces to do with neighbours and friends and things like that. And I knew it would be late, but then it ran later than it should have done. And even today, as a surprise, somebody rang me up this morning looking for two goats. So the herd is down too, but I'm going to send, oh, we have to do it this way. I'm going to send a little video onto the patrons now to tell you all about it. And you can see that shortly, Kate, once I've yarn from the barn sorted. Everybody is happy out and they're eating and they're all good. And it's amazing, do you know? It's when something feels right, there's nobody actually kind of missing. Do you know, everything is good, and the two going together makes a big difference. Joy and Bliss are having a great time out in Sneem. I have some lovely photos I'm going to share later as well. And the people that have them have an Airbnb, so I'm going to share the link to that as well. You could do a ring of Kerry meeting all the goats in different places. So I have to get water. I hope everybody's well. Hi, Stephanie. Lovely to see you. How's it going? Oh, no. Well, Tasha, go hauling on show. It's beautiful here. It was threatening earlier. Actually, when the goats went off, you could see to the east, it was lashing out of the heavens. And I thought it was going to mosey on over, but it never did. It stayed to the east. We were very lucky here that it stayed dry all day, even though it's been a bit cloudy. But it looks lovely this evening now, as you can see. That's over to the west. Tá Grianán, Sonáte, it is there somewhere. But it is beautiful. There's a load of small birds. I'm not going to enlarge it this time because it was very hard. Yes, and I have Howard here with me. Yes, Howard. Yeah, you were nearly up for adoption today, but it all changed. So yeah, there's a fleet of little birds up there. I don't know what you call them. A flock of little birds, waiting to see the feeder is finished. But I'm going to hang around. And when it's all done, I'm going to turn it upside down so they can't get any bits of grain and leave their poo-poos. But yeah, everybody's fine. They're all eating away. We're all good. I'm going to walk down towards the strand because it is beautiful. And we'll see. There, look. I'm the leader of the band. Where are you gone, Harold? They'll follow me down. But it is beautiful. It really is a lovely day. And I think next week it's going to get good as well. So I'm trying to think. Did we have rain? I'm just kind of. I think there was one evening I'd wear my old trousers going milking. And that's not too bad. Look at Howard. And Dinah's following as well. Woohoo! Look at you, little devil. Yes. Dinah got her milk. She did. Come on away down. It's beautiful. So welcome anybody who's new to the channel. Yarn from the Barn. I'm Sean O'Leary and I tell a story. It's normally Saturday morning, but I'm just trying out different times for people, which suits better. Maybe Sunday evening. We shall wait and see. Please, if you like what you see, subscribe to the channel and like the videos. I know everybody says this, and I was kind of going, I'm not going to say anything, but you do need to remind people. So do please subscribe and like the video and maybe even share it, because there's a lot of little interesting things. Come on, guys. They're all staying around the feeder now for the moment. And I think that probably I need to get them some buckets of water as well. But I'll do that afterwards. So it is, I'm just taking you down to the seashore. They've, do you know what the goats absolutely adore? And I love it as well, not for eating, but just the look of it, the smell of it, the feel of it. Meadow sweet. But they love it. So their milk, I mean, I think when this is all meadow sweet that's eaten away here, But if you can see, it's growing again. So they'll just keep chomping at the meadowsweet, which is so beautiful. So that's why their milk is so gorgeous and so nutritious. They eat all the meadowsweet and all the different kinds of herbs that are here growing. So there's a real edible medicinal feel to the milk as well. It's not just grass, you know. So that is very nice. I planted a few things, but I think the Rahanuk, the ferns, took over. But I've set some more again. Oh, look at herself. You'll have to see this now. There's a few more on the way down there, Share. But look at herself. I don't know if you can see. Well, Dinah's flying down, but Jessie's on her way as well. Jessie's like, what's going on here now? Who's talking? And I'm not involved. She really is like that. Lovely Jess. You'll see her now. Plowing her way down. Come on, you little Dinah. Oh, Dinah, you're so lovely. Yes. See, Jessie's on the way now. What's going on here? Is this being recorded? Oh. Hello, Jessie. There's nobody else, just me. So you don't have to protect me from anybody. See here now. I'm just going to show you something before I tell you some stories. Share and Nettles are Tottenbergs, the breed Tottenbergs. And the Tottenbergs often don't have horns. Natural pollies like Saoirse and Droline don't have horns. But you can see Nettles' coat is long and a bit blonde. And in the summer then, Shares is short and a bit brown. And Nettles is getting that way as well now. She's losing her coat. And I must give her some minerals now as well, maybe some copper. And she'll have a beautiful coat, just like Share. And we had Dimpna as well. Hiya, Liz. How's it going? Oh, very good. Oh, yes. 'Tis all football. My neighbours, John and Helen, are watching the football now, hoping that England win, which is great. You can see Saoirse now. Her colouring is very brown, but it'll lighten up. And look at the Droline. Look at the Droline. She's coming on. You are. And Dimpna, I had Dimpna last couple of years. And Dimpna is Mocha's mom. You haven't met Mocha yet. But Dimpna went into retirement because she had a very hard pregnancy. And I said, you know something, that might be it now, really. So she's retired over with my friends James and Beck, who have Portmagee whiskey. And I should have taken a photo of her yesterday because, oh my goodness, she looks so well. She's gone from the blondie to the beige to a dark brown. She looks almost kind of dark, very dark brown, so healthy. Yes, you're all doing good. So, during the week, I did a puppet show, and I haven't done a puppet show in so long. It was so great because I came back from Castletownbere. I suppose years ago, I used to drive, and I drove all over the country doing puppet shows. Hiya, Kate. Oh, very good. Oh, were you on Zoom? Were you on Zoom, Kate and Marianne? But so I did puppet shows, and I travelled all over the place, and it just became a little bit too busy, all the travelling. Oh, very good. Oh, that's lovely. Good to see you, Marianne. Guys, stop fighting now. We're all down here. Look at everybody on the way. Hello, Ruby Wax. And hello, Howard. Hello, Howard. Yes. Ruby Wax is telling me secrets right in my ear. And how are you telling me more secrets? Stop it. They're kind of whistling into my ear. So now look at this. Isn't this great? And look at Rolene and Saoirse and Nettles. It is, it's great. It's lovely to see. And the herd, I must put a video. Oh, Harold. Harold is getting very much up in the affection stakes. Look at Rolene. I think Harold is checking me. Harold, it is Harold now. I keep correcting to call him Howard. Ah, Marianne, lovely to see you. Hope you're keeping well. I think it is Harold now. So yes, we're 2 goats down. I'll send you a video after this to the patrons page and let you know. And it's good. It's all good news. Look at everybody here. So yeah, so I did so I did puppet shows, and I did them all over the countryside, and I did a lot of them. Of course, my usual thing, I didn't probably charge enough, but it just got very tiring as well, touring everywhere, because what I found was, no, don't be fighting. What I found was as well, because I was touring a lot, I wasn't really myself all the time. It was always very kind of front of house. Very kind of, hello, my name is Sean. Yeah, I come from Kerry. Yeah, I do the puppets, and the puppets are about this. There was never any kind of more deeper than that. And too much of that isn't good for a person. A person needs to think more deeply about themselves and the world and stuff like that. Because when you're meeting new people, you're just introducing yourself all the time, I suppose. And it was good. And the puppet shows were lovely because the children really enjoyed it as well. Because I know during the week I was talking, please. It was never really scripted. It was never kind of, we'll sing the song about lost in the forest and there's 3 verses and then this puppet says this and this puppet says that. I had a general idea of what was going on. Look at you. You're up to say hello. I had a general idea what was going on, and the puppets would talk. Look at Silky, would chat to each other, and whatever was going on in the world, whatever was going on in the room, whatever was going on, came out in the story as well. So the audience were well able to affect the performance as well, and I think that's always very important, that stories are alive and puppet shows are alive, so that everything is people in Kerry when you now that's I'm trying to figure out insurance and stuff is the biggest thing with me at the moment, but I think August I'm going to look for 4 weeks in August and we're going to do nice things. I'm just going to Jessie, stop it. The big thing is I'm trying to get money together to get the caravan in and finished and stuff. And if I move down then to get the house up and ready for sale, and then I can do that. So it's all, but I think I can just have visitors, like rather than a big centre. Sean Larry's Story Goat Centre, Goat Story Centre. So, lads, don't be fighting. Jessie and Nettles are at each other. So I am really working towards that as well, if I can get it all done. So the stories, the puppet show. Jessie. It's desperate the way Jessie just keeps. And the way Margot keeps fighting back as well. That's the holy all of it, as my mom would say. See, this is where it's all about the collar. She keeps trying to. Oh, lovely. No, that would be great. And I definitely like. I'm thinking of definitely a day or two where everybody would come together. And there's a lovely lady, Marguerite, that I have to email. It started off, I was going to write her a lovely letter. Then I was going to do this, and then I was going to do that. And I just have to send her an email because I know she's coming to Kerry. I think it's next week. So if you are watching, Marguerite, I am sending you an email And I should have just done that quicker because it's, oh, look at this one thrown down next to me. I should have just done that. But, are we all good? Would you ever? I suppose they're only kind of playing too, but they're, because nettles, you see, Dad always reckoned that a cow without horns was more dangerous to anybody when they're fighting because it's just their head, whereas the horns are a little bit more fragile, even though they're sharper, but it's just the head they fight with, whereas the horns, you could break a horn or it's just that bit more fragile. So I don't know, because Nettles doesn't have horns, but she's baiting Jessie here. And of course, I'm kind of very non-confrontational, so I'm just like, oh my gosh, would he not just agree? So I'm going to tell you the story of the puppet show. And it's all about summer. There's kind of like three little stories running together because it all runs into each other. So Summer is fed up with the weather. She'd prefer it to be much more sunny. She'd like to get rid of the rain, but she'd have to go up the mountain and up into the sky to do that. And she's very worried about her garden because her garden is very special. That's where all the seeds come from. Yes, I think I'll just have to have 3 days in August that are the happy herd days. But I have to do a bit of wiring then to take them up because my neighbour here wants kind of privacy. He doesn't want lots of people down, which is fine too. That's and so I might just have to move centre of operations. Look at this. So Summer is fed up with the weather. She's worried about her garden because that's where she grows all the seeds that spring sets next year. So it's very important to keep those seeds safe. Hello. To keep those seeds safe, and she's wondering who could she get to look after her garden. Hello, Scotcha. I was only reading about you recently. Yes, Scotcha. And so she gets the Green Man to mind her garden, and she heads off. She heads off to sort out the clouds. Yes, Ruby. Yes, Ruby. She heads off to sort out the clouds, and she's halfway there when she realizes she forgot her phone. And she's to go back down. But while she's on the way down, the Green Man is minding the garden, and he thinks it's very easy to look after a garden because he looks after the forest and nothing goes wrong. And next thing he hears, He's not too sure what it is. And it sounds like a monster. And then he can hear, and it gets stronger, and it gets louder, and he gets very afraid. So the Green Man runs away. And while he's away, who should come in? Only Pollution. And Pollution is always out to upset the seasons and always out to upset Mother Nature. And he has got these GOM plants, G-O-M, and these GOM plants, he lets loose in the garden, and they start destroying Summer's garden and the lovely flowers she had set. And these GOM plants start growing instead. And Summer comes back for her phone, and she's just amazed at the state of her garden. And she's worried who's done it. Is it the audience? Would they have done it? And then she's like, but I had the Green Man looking after the garden. And where's he gone? So she gets the Green Man, and he's a little bit, he doesn't want to tell her that he was afraid because, he just doesn't want to. He was embarrassed about being afraid. So he doesn't say anything. He just said, look, I was very busy and I had to go back and look after my trees. So she says, please, Green Man, I have to go back up. I want some sunshine. I want to stop the rain for a few weeks. Please look after my garden. And she goes off a second time. And of course, the minute she's gone, the Green Man is there and he says, I will definitely look after the garden this time. Most definitely. There's no way, nothing will, He hears that sound again. And he goes, oh, no way. I'm not staying here. It sounds like a vampire. It sounds like a vampire with 40 teeth and 2 heads. And he's like, no, He hears it again and he goes off. And of course, while he's away, Pollution comes along with the GOM plants, and they start tearing up Summer's garden and wrecking some of the seeds and everything. And she's like, Oh, she's on her way up. And then she realizes that she needs to come back and she needs to take her earbuds so she can listen to music while she's all the way up and sorting out the clouds and everything. So she goes back for her earbuds, and when she goes back, the garden is in a worse state and there is no sign of the Green Man anywhere. So she starts calling him again. She starts calling him again, and she gets him back. Unity, stop eating my jumper. Look at Unity here. Yeah, you have to stop eating my jumper. So she comes back and the garden is really destroyed. And she says, she calls the Green Man this time and she says, why won't you look after my garden? It's the one thing I ask you to do. You'll have sunshine as well for your trees and forests and everything. Will you look after the garden? And he's a little bit upset and he's saying, will I tell her? He's saying, God, I can't tell her, I'm afraid. But it is a monster. It's a vampirical, soul-stealing monster. It's huge and scary. And so he tells her. He says, look, you have a monster in the garden. It's cruel. It's horrible. It makes such horrible noises. There is no way I can stay in the garden, and you shouldn't either. And next thing, there's that sound again. And the Green Man hides away because he's used to the forest, you see. He doesn't used to these sounds in the garden. And it's and she says, excuse me, who is that? And it's a corncrake. It's a corncrake who's come back to find his family, because his family used to live here long ago, but they're all missing. There's no corncrakes at all around. And Summer is very upset. She said, but I think there are some in Donegal. If you fly to Donegal, you might find some of your family there. So the corncrake goes off and Summer is now ready, but she turns around and there she sees a gum plant, this awful plastic creation by pollution, and he's eating into her garden. Well, she catches the gum plant and she throws it, and when she throws it, who does she see? Pollution. And she kicks him out of the garden and she said, you get out of my garden. Get out. We don't want you here anymore. And the Green Man goes to look after the forest, and he's able to look after the garden. And Summer goes off. Look at you. Summer goes off, and she's going to have a fantastic few weeks of sunshine. We might get a bit of rain in the evenings whenever we need it. And everybody in Summer's garden lives happily ever after. Now, there's that story. And there is another story going on, because in Mother Nature's garden, there's a cocky and a hen. A rooster and a hen. And nobody really knows how they're there. I think they ran away from the farm one time because they heard what was going to happen. Oh, Jessie, please. Maybe it's the water that they're looking for, but they're just around baiting each other. And Nettles is I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with you. But they're there as well. I don't know, can you see this or hear this? But the waves have just started coming in. You can hear the waves. It's lovely. You can hear the waves hitting up against the shoreline. Yeah, there's terrible trucking here going on. I wonder, is one of them in season or something? But it's too early. But you see, when they're well fed, anything can happen when you're well fed. So maybe they'll calm down. So the cock and the hen are there anyway. There's no sign of Cookie, but Henny, and she's a real Kerry woman. It's so hard. It's really funny. It's only when I have the puppets that I can do the accents and the voices and stuff. Look at you. But Henny has 3 lovely little chicks. But she has Albert as well, who's a very kind of a big, ugly looking fella. But she's mad about him, and he's great, and he's mad about her. and she has to go off and get something to eat because he's delighted to see everybody, the audience and stuff, and he's very delighted, and being delighted makes him very, very hungry. It's so different from, yeah, it's so different this morning now again. It was so beautiful this morning. And so she's running off, and she asks Albert to look after the other little chicks because he's the biggest and he's the bravest, and to look after them. So she goes off to get a slug burger or something like that. And while she's away, the three little chicks, the little ones, and they're all little beautiful little chicks. I should have photos. And they say to Albert, "What are we going to do, Albert? We've nothing to do while Mama's away." And he says he doesn't care. They say, "Why are you so nasty to us, Albert?" And he says, "Because I'm not your brother. I'm a cuckoo chick, and I'm only here to eat as much food as I can, and then I'm flying off to Africa as soon as I'm strong enough. And where's that lazy, horrible mom of ours?" And they say, "Oh no, what are you going to do?" And he says, "Why don't you go off and play with the traffic?" And he sends them off to play with the traffic. And they're gone away. But meantime, at the start of all this, Fox and Badger meet up, and they're kind of bored, so they decide to play hide and go seek. So Badger counts to 10 and Fox goes in a hide. So this is fine. So Fox goes off in a hide. Henny comes back with a lovely slug burger, and there's no chicks. The three chicks are gone. Oh, she says to Albert, "Where are those chicks gone?" And he said, "Oh, Mummy, I'm so worried about them. I told them to stay. I pleaded with them to stay, but they just ran off laughing at me." Oh, Henny was saying, "What bold chicks they are." And Albert's laughing under his breath. "What bold chicks they are." And he said, "Oh, Mummy, I'm so worried, and being worried makes me very, very hungry." So she said, "Look, I'll go off and get you a warm lasagna now. And once I get the warm lasagna, I'll come back." And she goes off, and the three chicks come back. And they are, oh my God, they're exhausted. They're terrified. They were out in the traffic. It was so bad. But there's only two of them back. And Henny arrives with the warm lasagna, and she is, "Oh, you're bold chickens, will you stay around?" And they said, "Albert said," and they said, "Don't mind Albert. He was out of his mind with worry." And he said, "Oh, Mummy, but I'm so happy to have them back. In fact, I'm so happy, I'm very, very hungry." So she gets off for something to eat, and while she's away, he tells the chicks to go way down to the strand and out in the sea, that they're fantastic swimmers. And they go, "We don't think so, Albert." And he says, go on. And they go way out. And of course, only one of them comes back. And Henny is all upset. And then she meets Badger. And he says, "Have you seen Fox anywhere? I'm looking for him all morning." And Henny gets it all wrong. She goes, "Oh no, Fox is missing and my chicks keep disappearing." So she calls Summer, and she tells Summer what's going on. And Summer calls Fox. And Fox then arrives, and she says, "Where have you been all morning?" And Fox says, "I was hiding, playing hide and go seek with Badger." But then Albert comes up to Summer and he goes, "Oh, Summer, I saw the fox take my little siblings, and it was so frightening. And being frightened makes me very, very hungry." And while that's off, Summer tells Fox to pack his bags and leave. He knows the deal. He can eat anything anywhere else, but not in Summer's garden. They all get on in Summer's garden. And he's very upset, and he has to leave, and he's packing his bags. But who should arrive but Badger? And he was looking for Fox, but did he find the three chicks here, there, and everywhere? And he brings the chicks back, and they all realise that Albert's the fault, and he's been lying, and he's been sending the chicks off. But Albert is strong enough now, and he flies away up into the sky, and he goes off to Africa. And Henny says, "Do you know something? I knew there was something dodgy about him all the time." So the two stories are running kind of in tandem all the time. Well, the three stories, because you have Badger and Fox, and you've Henny and Albert and the chicks, and you've Summer and pollution and the plants. And that was it. And it was just so nice to do it again. It made and it's there's been so many great memories of doing it in different places and different times. And again, you see my puppet show changed with the seasons. There'd be a different one in August when it was more about harvesting stuff, and then there was a lovely one for the equinox. I might tell you that another day, or show you another day even. So that is it from Yarn in the Barn number 19, I think. My goodness, it's hard to imagine that it's been going along. So definitely we're going to have some open days somehow. I'll figure that out. It's great to know that people are looking for it. So I just have to put my head together, try and get money together and get the caravan in, then get the house cleaned out and for sale, and then that as well. They're my three main efforts now at the moment. Thank you everybody for joining in. Please subscribe, please share, please like. Beg me kind let the reach. I'll be talking to you next week again. We'll decide a time and a day. As I say, I just keep like changing it around a little bit, and things are kind of busy here as well. And I have a few other ideas. Oh my God, the ideas. I could nearly if I had a jar and put all the ideas in, but we'll get there. At least Jessie and Nettles have calmed down, and everything is it would be great. It would be great. And you see, I suppose with teachers, Kate, I'm just reading your comment here. Poor old teachers have it so hard with the curriculum and the paperwork and the ticking the boxes and everything. So again, if I could talk to the teachers and say, yes, this is oral language, this is oral storytelling, this is what you're supposed to be doing, then they'd probably be more interested. So that alleviates some of the box ticking, to have the boxes ticked already. So whatever about the box ticking now, the bucket filling has to go next, and water for my girls. Have a lovely evening, everybody. Lovely chatting to you. Oh, that's lovely, Kate. Thank you to hear that. And thank you, Liz, as well. Yes, I must get Grover out of our play date, and we're going to have some dinner. Slán in Ishgach dinner, go raibh maith go bhar fad. There's my thumb.